Now, with Masters of the Universe being a product of the 1980s, it's natural that the franchise has borrowed somewhat from another very popular franchise that had its beginnings a few years earlier. There are very obvious similarities between He-Man and Star Wars, and neither Mattel nor Filmation, nor anyone else affiliated with Masters of the Universe has ever really tried to hide it. But where did it cross the line to egregious? Hey, that's a good word. I'll use that for the title. These are 5 of the most egregious times He-Man ripped off Star Wars. Number 1, Spaceships. Now, there's a plethora of ships in He-Man, and this list would be filled with more examples if He-Man had gone to space more frequently. And to be fully fair, how many different ways can you design a spaceship anyway? This is pretty low because sometimes it's just easier to rip off a design than just create a new one from scratch, but even I'll admit that the Torque ship from my favorite He-Man episode, The Reign of the Monster, are pretty much just straight knockoffs of TIE fighters. It's not one-to-one, but it's pretty damn close. But not as close as number 2, Lightsabers. Yep. Especially during He-Man's first season, you would regularly see Man-at-Arms or occasionally just a complete random character pull out lightsabers. We saw it in the pilot, we see it here in It's Not My Fault, we even saw it as late as She-Ra in the episode Huntara, which might actually predate anyone in the actual Star Wars series using dual sabers. Now what's really funny is that in almost all instances where someone pulls out a lightsaber in He-Man, they get it knocked out of their hands almost immediately, as if just to point out how useless they are. Which is hilarious because there's no way He-Man's uncanny shot blocking with his power sword was ripped off from Star Wars, right? Number 3, She-Ra is literally held by a rebel alliance. Some of you might feel this isn't as egregious as the lightsabers, but come on, a sci-fi show about a ragtag hero army going up against a much larger army that is somehow too incompetent to take them down despite clearly superior weapons technology. Yeah, there's no way Mattel is spinning it around that the quote-unquote Great Rebellion isn't just an obvious attempt on writing on Star Wars jargon. But at least they had a queen and not just a princess as the figurehead. Oh. Number 4, Skeletor uses off-brand Stormtroopers in the live-action movie. This is honestly something people tend to criticize the 1987 Masters of the Universe movie for, and I can't really understand why. I mean, you saw Skeletor's robot guards in the cartoon, they're not very threatening. Personally, I've always liked these Stormtroopers because they all kinda look like Junior Vaders or something. I don't know, I think it's kinda cool. But yeah, this is pretty egregious. Now, what could possibly top having off-brand Stormtroopers in your movie? Number 5, actual Stormtroopers in New Adventures. Yes, this is not a joke. They had actual Stormtroopers fighting on the side of the mutants in New Adventures. Slight color changes aside, that's pretty dead on. I'm honestly shocked that George Lucas didn't sue Mattel even back in 1990, but that might have been just because literally nobody watched this cartoon. But that's the list. Until next time, I have the power, so can you.